The odds of going pro using 40,000 marbles. We can go pro.
How many men there are?
With that one right there.
At least today on this planet. Each of these marbles represents 100,000 men.
Wow.
There are roughly 4 billion of us.
Whew.
Almost all of us, women and men, will play a sport at some point in time.
Football.
Very few of us will ever make it to the pinnacle. Just how difficult is it to make it to the top? Let's start with the global game, the more literal version of football. Perhaps the most challenging sport to evaluate, as many countries do not accurately track registrations. At least one country does, and that's the birthplace, England.
What's the hardest sport to go pro in? Now, I've seen a couple of TikTok people debate this, right? And I've actually thought about this too. And I'm rethinking about it. And I'm narrowing it down to these 3 sports. Soccer? Chess. Yeah, I'm adding chess here. At me. And I'm going to say boxing. Let me explain. Golf? I feel like with enough time, anyone can be good at golf. So that's off the table, right? But hockey, I don't know. I feel like there's too much randomness to a point where I don't know. It's not there for me. Don't get me wrong, it's a high skill sport. But I feel like it's not harder than soccer. I think the part that gets me is the stamina part, right? Because that soccer field that they're running back and forth, that's draining. And hockey, it's just, you're gliding. So hockey can't be on the list. What else? Basketball? You could just shoot every day. And eventually, you'll get there. Train, practice. I don't even know if you got to practice all the other mechanics. If you just practice shooting, and if you could make it from, if you just had Steph Curry's shooting capability, nothing else, you could probably still be successful in basketball. Yeah. If you could like average in every other stat, but just had his shooting skills, you could make it. But yeah, those are my top 3 for hardest to go pro in.
England. According to the Football Association of England, there are 68,295 registered football players that are 14 years old. Over the last 4 years, 246 English football players made their debuts with the English Premier League, what many consider to be the top domestic league with the most depth.
Okay.
We'll average that and say there are 61.5 English rookies each year. So, what are the odds of a 14-year-old making it to the top domestic league in England? About 1 in 1,110 will make it to the EPL.
Ooh.
What are the odds of making it for the entire English male population? About 1 in every 5,639.
Ooh.
Let's head across the pond to a game that is played on a frozen pond.
Low.
Hockey. The first organized hockey game was held in 1875 in Montreal. Today, over 452,000 Canadians are registered on organized teams. Hockey is clearly the most popular sport for our brothers to the north, and fortunately, Hockey Canada provides wonderful data for youth registrations. Similar to football in England, hockey in Canada is ideal given the unlikelihood of other sports to cannibalize the best athletes. If we break this down to a single youth...
The thing about sports and going pro is... off the top of the dome, 3 components you kind of need to hit to make it pro. 1, genetics. Unfortunately, some people are just stronger than others. They're literally built different. I don't know what else to tell you. 2, this probably is like the biggest part, mentality. You got to want to do it, right? And maybe since it's big in your country, like everyone wants to do it. But if you had the genetics, and the last one, talent, and the natural ability to do it, but you just don't want it, you could have gone pro, but you didn't. So there's probably better people out there than you at what you're doing, but they just don't want to do it, or they don't want it enough to like train for it. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about.
Year, a little more than 30,000 14-year-olds are playing hockey in Canada, who is also responsible for the most NHL players, 295 on opening night. About 120 rookies make their NHL debut every year, so if we apply this Canadian weight of 41.7%, that means roughly 50 of them will be Canadian on average each year. So, what are the odds of making it to the show? At least if you're Canadian? About 1 in 613 if you're playing youth hockey. If we look at all 14-year-old males, those odds are about 1 in every 4,371.
It can't be hockey.
How about America's pastime?
Everyone gets in.
Baseball. There are nearly 9 million high school males in the U.S.
So low.
The United States has clean data on high school sports participation, so we know this past year, a little over 478,000 of these boys played baseball. Jumping to the MLB, 72.2% of opening day rosters were from the U.S. We will weight this percentage against the 239 players that make their debuts each year, and multiply that number by 4 since we sampled 4 years of high school. So, just how many make it to the bigs? About 1 in every 693 high school baseball players will make it to the MLB. For all American males, 1 in every 13,026 will make it to the MLB. Now to the less literal, but more lucrative version of football. What are the odds of making it to the NFL?
The most spectacular showcase the league has to offer.
Football is the most popular high school sport for males in the United States. Between all forms of American football, over 1 million high schoolers play. Since you can't go to the NFL out of high school, probably for good reason, just for fun, let's look at how many of these will play college football. 77,204 will play some level of NCAA football. 228 rookies played in a game last year, and 96.3% of the league is American. Thus, we'll say 220 are from the United States per year on average. So, what are the odds of making it to the most valuable league in the world? 1 in every 1,211 high school football players will make it to the NFL. Looking at all males, 1 in every 10,117 will make it to the NFL. How about the newest major team sport?
I don't know if that's a lot.
The one that started in a PE class a little over 100 years ago. At the high school level, a little over 537,000 boys play on a basketball team. And of those, 3.6% will play in college.
I feel like everyone played basketball in high school. I didn't, but you always knew like 2 or 3 people that were going to at least audition for it. So that makes sense. The most being basketball so far makes sense.
That's 19,213 male college basketball players. Each year, about 93 rookies will debut in the top basketball league, the NBA. On average, 71 of them will be Americans. So, how difficult is it to make it to the NBA? 1 in every 1,880 high school basketball players will make it to the NBA. For all males, 1 in every 31,450 will play in the NBA. Looking at all our sports, basketball appears to be the most challenging to make it to the top. There is much to be learned from all of these games, but
I think another thing you gotta take into account is the popularity level. Like, depending on how popular it is in your country, more or less people will want to go. I don't know. I feel like every time a big like sport event happens, that shifts the popularity. Like, let me try to think of Like LeBron going to Philadelphia. Now, I bet you a lot of people are in Philadelphia are gonna, play more basketball. That's all I'm saying.
I believe we can learn perhaps the most from this last one, at least sociologically.
Because the more people that apply, the more people rejected. And
by the way, I put a lot of time, energy, and research into these videos, so if you're enjoying it, I'd really appreciate if you'd subscribe. To understand this, let's head back to the beginning. The year is 1890, and exactly one person is playing basketball. In fact, one is even aware of it because he invented it. By 1898, the game has caught on a little bit, at least locally. The first professional league is formed, the NBL. 6 teams play on chicken-wired courts. The game is far from global. Canada is playing it recreationally, but these teams are composed of just local Americans. Throughout the next few decades, the professional leagues struggled to stay afloat, and eventually the NBL merges with the NBA. This was important, but what was far more important was something dramatic that happened. 2 inventions that would transform not just basketball, but all of sports.
Television and radio.
Radio and television.
Something I noticed in like old movies, anytime there's a radio, it's always baseball. But anytime there's a television, it's always basketball or football. And I wonder why that is. Was like baseball more easier to tell what's happening on radios? So that's what like places with more radios would like listen to. Because look at any like old movies set in New Jersey. There's a radio on. What's on tonight's game? What is it? It's baseball. Like, look out for that.
Broadcasting and advertising capabilities, sports became an increasingly larger business, driving revenue and growing games like basketball, but profits weren't the only outcome. Far from it. In 1978, something monumental would occur, except this was not broadcasted. In fact, this went completely unnoticed, at least at the time. On a completely different continent, far, far away from the NBA, a slim teenager was busy playing goalie when a coach stopped him. He mentioned he should try a different sport where tall people have an advantage.
Oh?
Standing at 6'7", the Nigerian picked up the game quickly, and a few years later, a scout saw him and offered him a visit, an opportunity, all the way at a college in the United States.
Oof.
This was rare. To put it in perspective, this was so rare that the college didn't even pick up the kid at the airport.
Wow.
That belief would change.
I can't hear you! The Houston Rockets select
as Hakeem,
#1 pick,
the Dream, would go on to absolutely dominate and become the first African-born player selected in the draft. He would not be the last.
Oh my gosh. All the marbles are about to fall. No? Because that, you know what that means, right? That means, because he was just doing it by like America and like country specific. But what happens to the ratios when the whole world is a variable? Like anyone from anywhere could apply because you want the best of the best. Then it's just harder and harder and harder. And harder. And harder. And harder. And harder. Suspense. I wonder if he had fun building this. Or was he like halfway through and he was like, oh, I already stuck to marbles, so I gotta see it through. This is definitely, I got tired halfway through, so I gotta see it through project. This is funnel. Hey, you thought you were in first place? Nope. Oh. Somebody's gonna hit something. Winner is...
And the whole thing started with a couple of pitch baskets.
This is Solomon Alabi. Like Hakeem, he played in the NBA. Like Hakeem, he is from Nigeria. And like Hakeem, he is tall.
You got him for this video?
Really tall.
That's great.
And just like Hakeem, he grew up playing football.
You a soccer player first? Yes.
The only basketball court they had wasn't really a court. It was made of sand. After players like Hakeem proved that there was talent all over the world, the NBA launched a program called Basketball Without Borders, a camp that has helped find hundreds of international players like Solomon.
I was praying, I wished I can be like Hakeem Olajuwon.
Expanding the game to the edges of the earth.
A bridge.
Trailblazers select Arvydas Sabonis of the Soviet Union. Rick Smits of Mary. Dikembe
More
Mutombo
bridges were being
from
connected.
Georgetown University.
More people from across the world.
Michael Olowokandi.
Dirk Nowitzki from Würzburg, Germany.
Luol Deng from Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Joel Embiid.
Nikola Jokic.
Luka Doncic.
I feel like
With the first pick in the 2023
they get
NBA
their
Draft,
name like wrong or
the San
off.
Antonio Spurs select Victor Wembanyama
Ooh, he said it right.
from Nanterre, France.
However, one might notice something interesting when looking at NBA players that grew up outside of North America. They are largely tall. NBA tall. Solo tall. Just look at the top 30 players that weren't born in North America last year. Only one, Luka Doncic, was a guard, and he's 6'7", far from the traditional guard. Furthermore, for the
Hold on.
top 32 point guards last year, 29 were from the United States and 2 were from Canada. Fine.
This reminds me of how like the best actors in like American media today are British. Like Tom Holland, British. Every other actor I'm thinking of, but I can't remember, British. Idris Elba? British. Franklin from Snowfall. This guy, British. So much of American talent, but so much of American media and their successful shows, the actors, British. Next thing you know, you're going to tell me Sherlock Holmes is British.
Luka Doncic
Embarrassing.
was a guard, and he's 6'7", far from the traditional guard. Furthermore, for the top 32 point guards last year, 29 were from the United States and 2 were from Canada. Only one grew up in a different country. Luka. Why aren't we seeing more solos at shorter positions? What's convenient about height is how straightforward of a measurement it is. And this is where basketball is both unique and extremely telling on the sports sociology front. You know height is important for the game of basketball. You probably don't know just how important it is. Let's take a look. Let's look at this positionally. We'll start with the tallest position, center, where the average NBA starter is 6'10" or taller without shoes. How rare is this? Well, using US CDC data, about 1 in every 111,425 males are this height or taller. To visualize this, if we were to fill college football's largest stadium, the Big House, there would be about 1 NBA center on average in attendance. For someone like Solo, the odds are even more staggering. Only 1 in roughly 3 million US males are this height or taller. A couple notes. The US is taller than the average world height, and importantly, this is barefoot CDC measured height, not someone's self-reported height. Believe it or not, we tend to exaggerate this. At least, males do. We'll look at each position per 100,000 males. At our next position, power forward, where the average barefoot height ranges from 6'7" to 6'10" for our starters, you'd expect to see about 51 or 52 men per 100,000. At small forward, you would see about 411 males between 6'5" and 6'7". Moving to shooting guard, where the average NBA height was 6'3" to 6'4", you would expect to see 2,240 men this height. And what about our final position? Point guard. This is Rob. I played with Rob in college. Rob is a D1 point guard. He is very good, 5'10". He's taller than the average American male. But in basketball,
5'11" actually
many.
for me. But,
The average NBA point guard was 6'2" without shoes, and
I'm better
since
than
a
Rob.
5'10" guy can't exactly apply to be a power forward or center, that means Rob is competing with, well, over 97% of the population. Of the 100,000 on attendance at the Big House, 97,295 of them would be competing for one position. So if you're a 6'2" or shorter high school hoops player in the US, about 1 in every 9,206 of you will make it to the NBA. The margin for making it to the NBA is razor thin at any position. The margin for making it as a point guard
Didn't even think about this part.
is thinner, nearing the getting struck by lightning odds. Thinner. This explains something that is often wrongfully discussed. Why are there so many good guards? Or rather, why are there so few good centers? There's Jokic and Embiid, a sharp cliff, then a few solid players. Then the Mariana Trench. And
Put
then
the players down
everybody else.
Dang, he called you
Despite
out.
a male population of 4 billion,
Wasn't me.
there are so few that fit the center mold, we find a small sample size, which often leads to an increase in variance. But this doesn't explain why we don't see more international guards in the NBA. Clearly,
wanna
there
do
are
it.
far more people in the world than there are in the US.
They don't want to do
Where
it.
are they? Here's something to think about. Would Ronaldo be kicking a ball if he was born in the US? Would Kyrie and Fox still be point guards if they were born in Brazil? Probably not. The more average athletes, at least
So they're
in
probably
terms of
doing
height,
something else.
are choosing their cultural sports. For most of the world, that sport is football. The outliers, like Hakeem and Solo,
Doctor.
even if they started playing football, they're getting pulled aside and nudged with a, hey, I think you should try this. And with good reason. How many Kevin Durants did Kevin Durant compete against? Probably less Chris Pauls than Chris Paul had to beat out. Basketball
For real.
is a paradoxically unique sport. It is both globally inclusive and discriminatory.
Dang. I didn't even
You
think about
have
that
to be
part.
tall, at least if you want to make the top league. In truth, you also need another trait, even more selective. You have to be long. If height is the first measurement an NBA scout is
Out the
concerned
frame.
with, the second is a player's wings.
Wow.
The average male has a wingspan that is about 1 to 2% longer than their height,
I'm not going to
depending
pause
on
it
your
here.
source.
But
The average NBA player, their wingspan is 6.3% longer than their
pause it
height.
so I can
For reference,
give it so I
my
can
wingspan
pause.
ratio
He talked a little bit about them wanting to do it because, like, if your whole country's doing hockey, why try out for basketball? He did talk about that, but the whole genetics that plays a way bigger part than I thought it did.
Is normal. I am 6'2" without shoes. My wingspan is 6'3". John Wall was the number 1 selection in Solomon's draft. However, his wingspan is 6'9¼ meaning he plays more like a 6'6" regular human. This is a crucial distinction. This need for length withers our pool of potential down even further. You can just see it in certain players. Guys that get more deflections or just kind of dunk easier than the rest of us. Their height is hidden in plain sight.
It's the hands.
What can we learn from all this?
Their height's in the hands.
Well, undeniably, some sports are more competitive, at least the odds of making it to the top. One could argue that a Canadian teenage hockey player is 3 times as likely to make it to the NHL as an American high school player is to make it to the NBA. Overall, in every sport,
comes down to genetics.
Athletes face incredible odds, at least if you view this as the point of playing sports.
It all comes down to genetics.
Growing up, my safe place was filled with dreams of playing at the highest level, and I idolized those that did. In a roundabout way, many of us are tricked into believing that this is Eden, being that one marble that is the marvel. But this is a mirage.
Wow.
While we can love watching and playing sports, we all run out of talent in some way at some point in time. That is not a character defect. The pinnacle is not the point. The odds are only against you if you view it that way.
Odds are always against you if you view it that way. So, I left this video knowing it's all genetics. Genetics are bad. You'll never make it unless you work hard enough to first balance out what your genetics are missing, and then not only do you got to do that, because that's just catching up to everyone else, you got to work even harder to be better than their genetics.